I'm Sherry. I'm the mother of a 19-year-old daughter, Kate, who was diagnosed with TBRS about 2 years ago. We kept going back to the doctor. They could not diagnose her at 2. Something was off, but nobody could tell me what. I'm taking her to various neurodevelopmental pediatricians. At the end, this kid has had more diagnoses than anyone cares to imagine. And nowhere along the way had anybody suggested genetic testing. So we waited 9 or 10 years to finally get into genetics. So they do the exome sequencing. It finally comes back after, I don't know, 5 or 6 months. And they say, look, we don't have anything definitive. Subsequently, we had another round of genetic testing a couple years later. That again came back, nothing new. About 3 years ago, the genetic counselor said to us, look, there's now another lab that does the exome sequencing. I received a phone call and it was the genetic counselor, and she said, Sherry, we have an answer. And I said, what is it? What are you talking about? And she said she has Tatton-Rahman syndrome.
17 years? I mean, she was 17 at
She was 17.
My name is Michelle Mahoney. I am Adam Parsons' mom, who had TBRS. Adam resided in Connecticut for 21 years. Unfortunately, Adam lost his battle with TBRS when he was 21.
Less than 24 hours after he was born, they came to us and said that we might need to make a decision, that they were going to do some chromosome testing on him because we didn't know if he might have been a, female baby or a male baby. So we did not know. So they did the chromosome testing and it did come back that he did have the male chromosomes. Mm-hmm. We lived in and out of the hospital, and every time everyone would just look at us and just say, we don't know. We had gone through neurology testing. We had gone through extensive testing, chromosome testing. They had sent things out and they kept saying, well, it could be, but he doesn't have enough characters. We were finally diagnosed with TBRS in 2018.
Josh was born early, and we thought that there were things going on, but nobody was very concerned in the beginnings. There was no genome sequencing done at that point in time. They obviously found nothing. So I went back and asked for genetic testing to be done again. And at that time, they came up obviously with nothing else. That's when we got the okay to go in and have the genome sequencing testing done. And we found out a month later, which just couldn't believe it. It was just unbelievable. All these years, you know.
For the most part, we were very happy with Children's of Pittsburgh Genetics Department. I think it really was finding the one that was going to care as deeply as you did. Susan, our nurse practitioner, I don't know what we're going to do when Kate turns 21, but she has been there every step of the way with us.
We went through 3 neurologists and our last neurologist, and I just looked at her and I'm just like, I need help. Somewhere has got to be something that we can do. And she said, there's more that we'll do. I will figure this out with you. I still go back to see her and I still send her letters and say, because of you, I was given an answer. And our geneticist, he dismissed us after when Adam was 6 years of age, because he was like, what more can I do? We've done all the testing. There's not much more I can do. Adam had maxed out health insurances. So Adam did go on to state insurance. So some people, they won't take it because the kids are on state insurance.
Yeah.
And they won't test them. And that's not fair.
The doctors were just feeling he was just a little behind and nothing significant. I just started going to different doctors to say, hey, someone has to help me here, because you guys are all saying everything's totally perfect and fine. And it's not. His doctor did finally get a hold of me and said, all right, so show me these testings. And when I did, they just, had no idea. Then, we were at that level, so I then was sent to a neurologist. Over the years, as he aged and became, I would get some physicians that would really work with me for a while. And then, then it was like they knew more than I did. So I have been really trying to advocate, and I finally got it. You know, this year, Josh is 39,
Yeah.
but I do have services through our Medi-Cal system, where I have a social worker, a nurse, and they will call and help me be a liaison between the doctors and help set up any issues I'm having. There was a time where Josh was having a lot of chest pains and things. I was just getting nervous, and we went to see this one cardiologist, who then, of course, when Josh is in there, everything looked fine. So he was going to tell him the story about the little boy who cried
wolf.
And he was explaining this story to Josh this whole time. And of course, Josh just didn't understand it. And I'm watching him like, wow, he's telling him that he's making up things. I just looked at him and just said, thank you very much, but it's time for us to leave, you know?
There were signs that something was the matter at 9 months. And so I wish I wish the doctor would have listened to us. I wish that, we would have been able to have genetic testing much sooner. It would have allowed us to have services sooner. So I constantly had to fight for services. I had to get her diagnosed with autism when she was 14, just so I could get social communication services. You have to fight. You have to fight so hard for your kids. Right? If I could tell every pediatrician, if you have a kid that comes in at 9 months and is not meeting those physical developmental milestones, or at 12 months, you got to get them to genetics right away.
I think that they should listen to us. When we said like we're not feeling good, or we have problems with, we're like having a chest issues or stuff like that, or we're not feeling, I think they should listen to, that's what I think they should do.
They need to listen to mom. Really listen to who their caregiver is. If it's not mom, but listen to the parents and not give up. Just because of insurance companies, doctors need to fight for those patients.
It only takes one of the right kind of doctor or healthcare professional to take such an interest in your child that can make a world of difference. The fact that Dr. Tatton Brown found this and her colleagues, for me, is nothing short of a miracle. But I really, really hope that these researchers and these geneticists don't stop.